The eligibility criteria for Citrix was 7 CPI, and the branches that were eligible were BTech CSC, EEE, ECE and MNC, and MTech CSC and Electronics Department. The written test was online. It was hosted on HackerEarth. It consists of 2 parts. There were 50 MCQs, and it was of duration 1 hour, and the other part was of coding. It was also of 1 hour. The 50 MCQs consisted of mainly of aptitude questions and questions on programming like C, CPP, Java, and core computer science subjects like OS, database and all. The 2 coding questions were based on, the first question was of finding prime numbers in a given range, and the second question was finding determinant of a matrix. The trick in the question of prime numbers was that we had to take care of the case that the range might be of from A to B or B to A, so we need to take care of that also. There were 2 rounds of interview. First round was of technical and the second round was HR. The first round was technical. It started with my introduction. Then he gave me a coding question based on BFS. It was on a tree and I had to implement bottom up, left to right. He asked me to write the code on paper. After I wrote the code, he asked me to write test cases for the same. Then we moved on to some networking questions like what is TCP UDP, difference between TCP UDP, and when do we use both of the protocols. Then we moved on to object oriented programming, like he asked me about polymorphism, inheritance, difference between function overloading, function overriding. Then we moved on to software engineering. He asked me the different models which I know, like waterfall model, incremental model. Then we moved on to testing, the different types of testing like alpha testing, beta testing, white box, black box and all. The round consisted of, the round went on for 1 hour and it ended with an example. He gave me a question on login page, how will I perform testing on the same, and we discussed for 10 to 15 minutes. The second round was HR. It again started with my introduction. I had some work experience, so she asked me about the same. Then there were some general HR questions like my hobbies, my family background, strength, weakness, what do I know about Citrix and why Citrix. At the end, she told me I was selected. The tips from my side are, you should be strong in coding. Apart from coding, you should be good in systems concepts, basic concepts of OOPs. You should practice data structures like linked lists, trees, graphs, strings. You should be able to write code on paper, because at the time of interview you will not be given compiler to check your code on. So you should be able to write code, error-free code on the single go. So be confident. Best of luck.